Hey everybody, this is Chris over at VaporDNA. We're going to show you a brief tutorial on the projectsub-ohm SilverPlay Nano. Now there's a lot of ways to set up SilverPlay Nano, but we're going to show you the way that we prefer, and it's going to be fast and effective. Now we're going to be using 24 gauge Kanthal wrapped around 2.5 millimeters and a total of 7 wraps. So here we have the build deck of the projectsub-ohm SilverPlay Nano, and what we're going to do is mount the coil, and we're going to do a lot of things off camera just to speed up time here, but just to show you a couple of key elements. So first we're going to go ahead and go positive to negative. We're going to go to the far side positive, if you see that, to that negative, and that's just the length of our coil there, kind of accounting for that. So we're just going to go ahead and set that in. Now one of the more key notes that you have to consider is that when the chimney goes on right over here, you want to ensure that your coil does not hit any part of the outside chimney. You want to have just one real line of electricity from the positive to the negative, and if you do happen to have any trouble fitting in that chimney after you cut the leads and position your coil, then you might want to consider going down in diameter. Okay, so as you can see here, we just finished wicking the SilverPlay Nano. Now we did a full channel wick. Now there's a multitude of different styles that you could use, half channel or just above channel, but for beginners this is the easiest way for beginners just to kind of understand how to wick a RTA, especially if this is your first RTA. So just a couple of things here, and I'm going to use one of the UD tools here just to show you on camera. One of the things when you do a full channel wick, you want to make sure that none of the wicking element, in this case we're using Japanese organic cotton, none of that wicking element gets into any of these threads here. So when we thread on the chimney, you'll see it goes on nice and smooth, and before we actually set the wicking element into those channels, we actually juice it up. In this case we're using prototype C by projectsub-ohm, just to make it a little bit more pliable, a little bit easier to work with. So now we have it full set. What we're going to do is do a quick test fire to make sure everything's working correctly before we then thread on the chimney. So I'm going to put a few drops of prototype C on it, and let's see how it fires at 60 watts on the Mutation XB. Just applied a couple of drops of prototype C, and let's see how this bad boy fires. Alright, it's looking great. So at this point what we're going to do is just thread on the chimney there, and then show you how to fill. In this particular case we're going to use the glass section, and we'll show you how to fully assemble that as well. Alright, so now we're going to thread on the chimney here, so we're just going to go on and make sure it is vertical. You don't want to have that on a lean, as you can see, because we put those wicks right into the wicking channels, threading on nice and smoothly. Alright, we're going to thread all the way to the base of the deck there, just like so. And at this point what we're going to do is do one more test fire, and whenever you do test firing we always recommend that you do it on a regulated mod. That way if there's any type of short or any type of issues going on with the build, you'll be protected in some way there. So at this point what we're going to do is place on the glass tank just like so, and you see the O-ring on the base there, it sits right on that O-ring. I'm going to grab the cap here, and let's go ahead and take that drip tip off. I'm going to go ahead and thread that on. So I'm just going to thread that on nice. Alright. So now we have the tank fully assembled, and before we use it, of course, we want to fill it. So we're going to take it off the Mutation XB and then show you how to fill it. Alright, so we took the SilverPlay Nano off the Mutation XB, and now we're looking at it from the bottom up there. And as you can see, there's going to be a little screw right there, and that's where we're going to back out to go ahead and fill the tank with. And as you can see, so what I'm going to do is just go ahead and flip this over and drop out that screw. As you can see, let me see if I grab another tool so you can see a little bit more concisely. This is where you're going to be filling the tank. And of course when we're filling, you want to make sure that the tank is always upside down, just to ensure that none of the e-liquid that you're using to fill it happens to leak out. So you see, we're just going to put the dropper. In this case we're using a dropper. You do have a unicorn bottle or a syringe, and it makes things a little bit easier, but we'll show you how to fill it with a dropper, and let's see a great angle on that, as you see there. Yeah. I'm doing this kind of quickly, so you'll see a little bit of e-juice back out at the top here, but you do it nice and slow, everything will be right in the tank there, as you see. So alright, so we filled it up just under halfway there, and we put back the fill screw just to make sure that nothing happens to seep out, and we're going to go ahead and start vape and give it a try. Again, this is a 7 wrap 24 gauge on 2.5 millimeters. On our Mutation XB here, it's reading out to 0.32 ohms, and we're vaping it at 60 watts. So go ahead and connect these two together and let's give it a vape. All right, so we have it all set up. Let's give it a few test rips and see how it's going. As you can see, it's putting out some great vapor at 60 watts here. Alright, so yeah, it's tasting great and vaping great. So thank you for taking the time to watch this little brief build tutorial on the SilverPlay Nano. And hopefully this will be of help